I see the member for Edmonton-Whitemud rising.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's been a bit of a long day. Okay, well, I'm pleased to rise in response to the speech from the throne. As I know there was a little leeway on these speeches, I hope you will all indulge me while I tell you a little bit about myself. So, I am a child of immigrants to this country from Tanzania and India, who came to Canada and Alberta because of the open arms of this country and the wide open opportunities of this province. My father was a small business owner, my mother was a former teacher and a provincial civil servant. I grew up in Southwest Edmonton, lucky to enjoy the privilege of a great public education system and world-class universities. I'm the daughter of two parents who both had significant health issues in their 40s, but who never had to question whether or not they would have access to high quality and exceptional health care. I am a lawyer who worked for 13 years in public service and in private practice and understands the role and significance of strong and effective government on the lives of the people it serves. I am the partner and wife of a public school teacher and assistant principal who has been a mentor and an advocate for his students. I am a mother of two young children who look around and don't question seeing people of all races, religions, abilities, sexual orientations, and values as part of their community. They certainly don't see anything unusual about a strong, progressive woman as a politician or as their premier. I am a feminist and a social justice advocate, a volunteer and a woman of color who believes that government should reflect the people that it serves. And I now stand before this Assembly as the elected representative for the fantastic riding of Edmonton-Whitemud. I'm the first woman to hold this seat and the first person of color, and I'm very proud. Yeah. So Edmonton-Whitemud, thank you. Edmonton-Whitemud is a beautiful riding established in 1971. It draws its name from Whitemud Creek, a tributary of the North Saskatchewan River that runs through the riding. The name Whitemud comes from the white mud from the hill used by Hudson's Bay Company men as a whitewash on their posts. Edmonton-Whitemud is a constituency made up of people from a multitude of ethnic, religious, language, and socioeconomic backgrounds. From the grand homes on Whitemud Road, to the character homes in the closely knit community of Terwillegar Town, to the vibrant diversity of Brander Gardens. It is filled with young families working hard to provide the best life for their children now, but also wanting a secure future for them. Families that are growing and need sufficient school space and teachers to ensure that every child has every opportunity to succeed. There is a thriving community of newcomers to Canada in the heart of the riding, thanks to the great work of local community groups like Brander Garden Rocks, a local community group which provides ways for these families to connect and find support from each other. There is a long and proud history of volunteerism in this riding. Community leagues such as Riverbend, Brookview, Oak Hills, The Ridge, Hodgson, Terwillegar, and Ogilvie Ridge are active and strong in Edmonton-Whitemud. These community leagues have come together under the Terwillegar Riverbend Advisory Council, or TRAC, one of the first of its kind in the city of Edmonton, which just hosted its 14th annual community run to support the great work that it does in the riding. The riding is busy with events all year round, from the Southwest Edmonton Farmers Market to the Southwest Seniors Association's Live Active Expo, to community carnivals, to the family and kids sporting activities of the Terwillegar Rec Centre. It is a riding that also has a lot of natural beauty, including the well-loved and well-used Terwillegar Off-Leash Park that connects to the other natural areas in our River Valley Park system. And it's no wonder that the Terwillegar Off-Leash Park is so popular. Edmonton-Whitemud has the highest level of dog ownership in the city. And this brought me no end of joy as I was door knocking, since I am a very big dog lover. Although it might have put off a few of my volunteers who had allergies, since I insisted on giving every single dog that I met an ear rub or a pat on the head, if they'd let me. The political history of the riding is also fascinating. 3 of Alberta's premiers have represented this area: Alexander Rutherford, Don Getty, and Dave Hancock. Nellie McClung, part of Alberta's and Canada's famous 5, who brought the Persons case, represented part of the geographic area that is now in Edmonton-Whitemud. Since the establishment of Edmonton-Whitemud as a riding in 1971, it has been held at times by 3 different political parties for multiple terms each: the Progressive Conservatives, the Alberta Liberals, and of course, the NDP. And the former MLA, Dr. Bob Turner, paved the way for the NDP in the riding, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, this varied political history means that the voters of Edmonton-Whitemud cannot and should not be taken for granted by any political party. These are electors who pay close attention to what candidates and politicians say and what they say they're going to do, and they hold them accountable. They are reasonable and pragmatic voters who are not swayed by highly ideological or partisan positions. The people of Edmonton-Whitemud care about supporting their own families, but also care a great deal about how other families are treated. They are people who told me that they could not abide any political party that would make LGBTQ students who are already vulnerable more vulnerable, or would accept or brush off intolerant or hateful views by anybody. They are voters who lived through the Klein years and 44 years of Conservative governments and watched them fail to diversify and invest during the boom of high oil prices and then slash and burn public services during the bust of oil prices. The people of Edmonton-Whitemud told me they were grateful to see a different approach from the NDP to the precipitous drop in oil prices that took place late in 2014. They appreciate that instead of hurting Albertans more, which is what Conservative governments always did and indeed will continue to do, the NDP invested in Alberta workers by refusing to cut Alberta public sector jobs and by creating jobs by putting Albertans to work on desperately needed infrastructure projects. They recognize the commitment and pragmatism of former Premier Notley on advocating for and moving Canadians in support of building pipelines so we could get value for our resources. But they also saw that for the first time in decades, the NDP government demonstrated a commitment to diversification, which was a commitment to a more stable and secure future for all Albertans. So like all of this in this Assembly, I chose to run for many reasons. I ran because after working hard to encourage gender parity in politics as a board member of Parity YEG, and I knew that when I was asked to run, it was time for me to walk the walk. I ran because I wanted my children to see how important it is to be an engaged citizen and to stand up for the values that you believe in. I ran because I watched the NDP government over the previous 4 years, and I saw a government and a leader that for the first time in 40 years actually planned ahead for our future by diversifying our economy, investing in people and services when times are difficult, and standing up for the vulnerable and the disenfranchised. I ran because I saw the alternative that was proposed and how regressive and backwards it was, and I knew that I was not going to sit idly by and let it happen without doing something about it. I needed to fight for a more just and secure world for my children. So, Mr. Speaker, I am proud to be a member of a strong official opposition. I'm not afraid of being a minority voice in this Assembly. I grew up in Alberta as a woman of color. I've spent my life as a minority. I've immersed myself in the experiences of marginalized people. I've learned from the stories of those voices who are ignored. I do not feel powerless in opposition. In fact, I feel empowered. I feel the awesome privilege and responsibility of speaking for those who may be in the minority, and I'm proud to do it. So while the members on the opposite side may gleefully drag this province backwards again, just know that I'm not afraid to be a voice to challenge that. And I will challenge that, because that is what my constituents elected me to do, and that is what a strong opposition voice must do. So the people of Edmonton-Whitemud have put their trust in me and elected me to be their voice in the legislature. I commit to ensuring their voices, priorities, and needs are strongly represented in the House. And I look forward to working as a member of the NDP caucus to ensure a better life for all Albertans. Thank you.
Hear, hear.